Hi, welcome to Christian Meditative Yoga. This is episode 1B. And it's titled Staff. We're going to do variations and offshoots of the staff pose. I'm Julia.
And I'm Boo.
And this is the day the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. The classic staff pose is sitting with your legs straight out, your feet a comfortable distance apart, your hands palms down, holding yourself up straight, very erect, and your shoulders up, your neck straight with your head tilted slightly down. Of course, you can roll it around if you want, but that's the way the staff is. You've got your neck very erect, like there's a string on the back of your head pulling your head up, and so it feels very, very erect. The classic staff is, I'm going to breathe in, and as I breathe out, I'm going to pull my right leg up, and I'm just going to basically hold it. You can hug it if you want. If you have a hard time doing that, just do the best you can with it. But the idea is to sit up very, very straight and hold your shoulders back and hold your neck up. As I told you before, usually start with the right leg. Boo, do you have a scripture for us?
I certainly do. Mark 6, 7 through 8. And this is when Jesus sent the 12, put 12 out by 2 by 2 in the vicinity of Nazareth. He called to him the 12 and began to send them out 2 by 2 and gave them authority and power over unclean spirits. He charged them to take nothing for their journey except a staff.
Okay, these are the 12 apostles, and they were in the vicinity of Jesus' hometown, Nazareth. And he told them also some things to wear, and that is in Mark chapter 6, if you want to read the rest of the thing about what they were supposed to wear, including their sandals and their clothing. The staff was a very important item in the Bible.
Yes.
It was like almost having a powerful third leg or arm. It was another extension of the personality, is the way people saw it. Mm-hmm. The classic with a classic staff with a twist. Okay, I did the left leg then, and let's go. You can just stay where you are, Boo, and I'm going to breathe in, out, and pull my leg up here. And then when you do the classic staff with the twist, I'm going to breathe in, and then as I breathe out, I'm going to hook my arm around my knee and turn around, and you see my hand is going on the floor behind me, and I'm going to look backwards. Now, everybody may not be able to look backwards, so you do the best you can. If it's only this, that's fine. Even if it's this, where you're still holding both legs, that's fine. Ideally, you want to have your
Who can do it?
There you go. Okay. And now let's breathe in and come up and out and in and put your leg down. There you go. If you synchronize your breath with it, that's a really, really good thing to do. Do you have another scripture for us?
I certainly do. Hebrews 11:21. By faith, Jacob, when he was dying, blessed each of Joseph's sons and bowed in prayer over the top of his staff.
It was almost like him putting a hand over their head when you put the staff over their head. I mean, to him it was. Now, as people evolved over a couple of thousand years, we still have people who believe in like magic wands and stuff like that.
Oh yes, and some of them actually have reason to.
Well, yeah, I guess a gun could be considered an extension of something like,
or a taser.
This is really some bad stuff there. We want to stay away from that sort of thing. We're dealing with biblical stuff, but human nature as it is has not changed
very much.
A tremendous amount. Right. At least we're not living in caves.
Right.
Okay, now we're going to go down back into the classic staff pose. Shoulders. Your shoulders are very important to hold up nice and straight. Sit up erect. That little string, I'm going to pull a piece of my hair up. Here's my little string holding me up from the back of my head. Now that is going to put your head in the position it needs to be in. It's kind of an imaginative thing. Your chin by way of doing that, your chin is sort of slightly tilted down. Not hardly at all, but a little bit. Now we're going to do the backhand and advanced staff, synced with our breath. Now, most of everything here, you need to sync with your breath if you can. Otherwise, just breathe.
And don't you have something to share with us?
Yes. Okay, this next scripture is from 2 Kings, and it's the 4th chapter. If you want to look it up and actually read the story, it's very interesting. In the 4th chapter of 2 Kings, there is a elderly woman named Gehazi, Gehazi, and the prophet Elisha. And this involves Gehazi and Elisha and Gehazi's son. Now, Gehazi was too old to have children, but Elisha told her they had made a room, Gehazi and her husband had made a room for Elisha to come and stay in their house because they recognized him as a man of God, and they had made a special room designated just for him. He did not live there, but when he was traveling in that area, he would stay there. He said to her that she was going to have a son, and she laughed a little bit like, yeah, right. And she did have a son, and her son grew up, and while he was a young adult, he died. So she got in touch with Elisha as quickly as possible, and Elisha said to her, this is verse 29 of the 4th chapter of 2 Kings. He said to Gehazi, gird your loins and take my staff in your hand and go. Don't, go straight away and lay my staff on the face of the child, of your child, your son. And so she did, and the child did not come back to life. Because obviously the staff is not a human body. I mean, it can only go so far, right. With that sort of a belief. So Gehazi got back in touch with Elisha. Now this is the great miracle. Elisha came and went in the room along with the boy, and it was in the room where Elisha was designated to stay when he visited. And he brought the boy back to life. He laid on him and gave him the breath of life, and he came back to life. Now, there is, I think Elijah did that similarly with somebody else in the Bible. Anyway, it is a miraculous story from the bloodline of Christ. That's 2 Kings chapter 4. Now, for the backhand and advanced staff, I'm going to lift my right leg and just hold it like you do. And I'm going to take my right arm, and I'm going to breathe in and out and bring it around back and join it with my left hand behind my back and still sit up straight with the shoulders up straight. Okay? And then breathe in and bring those hands back around in the same order that you went.
Boo has a scripture. Psalm 23:4. Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me.
Now, a harder variation of this is pretty cool, but it really didn't look as good on camera as I thought it would. So I just picked that to do with your hands behind your back. This is ideally what I've been practicing on forever and ever, and will continue until I do it. Okay, I'm going to breathe in and lift my arms straight up. I'm going to come around the inside of my leg and back with this hand here. With the other hand, you see how they're both around there. Am I close? Am I close?
You're about 5 inches.
Okay.
Missing.
And then I'm going to breathe in. And I'm going to bring these arms back around like this, in a motion like that. Let me do it a little faster because that's pretty nifty when you do it.
Boo's got it.
Cool. Anyway. That's a little harder to do, but you're basing it off of the staff pose, actually. Now the pretzel staff, I'm going to sit back in the in the classic staff here with my hands down, up straight. Pull my head up. There you go. All right. Into the classic staff, and I'm going to pull my right leg up and hold it. The pretzel staff, I'm calling it pretzel because we were doing a whole lot of crisscrossing around here. The 24th Psalm was what you just read before. And
yes, I have another one called Isaiah 14:5.
Okay, hang on just a minute. Okay. I'm going to stick my other leg up, my leg that was sticking out, I'm going to put it up under this other one. So I've got my foot up under there. Now, you may only be able to get that far with it, but it is a nice feeling thing. And if you put your arm over here, it feels pretty good. I'm going to start out by putting my hands on the feet that are closest. The feet that are there, so I don't have to cross my hands over. And that's kind of pretzely. But now I'm going to do something a little more pretzely, and I'm going to crisscross my hands so that everything's crisscrossed here. And I'm going to pull this up. I'm going to breathe in deep. And as I come down, I'm going to squish everything together. And then breathe in and out. It looks like you're folding and unfolding there. Now, you have a scripture for us then from Isaiah.
Isaiah 14:5. And this is in the Bible where a staff or a walking stick represents power. The Lord has broken the staff of the wicked, the scepter of the tyrant ruler. And I have one more.
So when the Lord breaks your staff, wow.
Yeah.
We're gone. Okay, hang on just a minute.
Okay.
And let's do this other leg. Can you do one of your legs? Whichever one's the best. Okay, now we're going to fold this other leg up as close underneath as we can. You don't have to get too close if you can't. I'm going to start out by putting my hands on the feet that are closest to the hand so that I'm not crisscrossing my arms, you see. And then I'm going to switch the hands over onto the opposite foot like that so they're crisscrossed. I'm going to sit up as straight as I can and breathe in. And as I breathe out, I'm going to fold everything together. This is a super pretzel. Out, in, out. And you can really blow it out. In, out. And if you want to pump your stomach a bit, get
if
the
you like Boo and it hurts, don't do it.
Don't do it if it hurts. Don't do it. If it hurts, don't do it. Okay. And now Boo has another scripture.
It's actually a quote.
Oh, it's a quote.
From a famous cowboy, Roy Rogers. He says, "The station put us on staff at $35 a week, and I mean every week." And that was famous cowboy Roy Rogers.
Well, things sure have changed.
Yeah.
We may be related somewhere along the way since my last name's Rogers. That's my maiden name.
Right.
Yeah, Roy Rogers and his famous horse Trigger. I don't know if he was famous enough that people who are like millennials now know who he is. Maybe so. I don't know. Anyway, the next thing I'm going to do is a super variation, and I'm going to do the table, what I'm calling the table staff. And the reason I'm calling it that is that you're really, really holding your back very, very straight and your legs straight here. As you breathe in and out, you do not twist your body at all. But this is called the eye of the needle. I'm going to take my right shoulder down like this. And then I'm going to take my leg out like this, toe to the floor. And I'm going to take this hand and put it around either underneath or over. Over is the easiest. The calf, the upper calf area. Or you can put it on the thigh part of your leg. And just hold it. In and out. In and out. And this involves some extra muscles there. I'm going to do it with the other one now. The shoulder down. This is the eye of the needle again. Okay, and the leg out.
And we're going to give
and this arm
the last word to a woman. And it's a famous UT woman. Women's basketball coach Pat Summitt. God bless her. She says, "I've got a great staff and great support system, and I'm going to stick my neck out and do what I always do.
Pat Summitt was a revolutionary.
Yes.
She advanced the status of women in sports immensely, and therefore the status of women in general,
right,
all over the world. And yes, I'm very grateful for Pat Summitt.
Me too.
Moment of silence. University of Tennessee basketball, women's basketball coach, brought women's basketball into a global recognition. The U.S. women's basketball. And we want to thank you for joining us.
Yes.
Wishing you a great day. And always remember, this is the day the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me.